it. Thank you. It wasn't a good time, Jim. So to what amount would you like this reduced?
I believe I requested $1,000.
Well, at least in these notes it says that.
Oh, okay. I didn't get the notes. Okay. It's on the cover sheet, I have. It's on the cover sheet?
Top sheet of the one who wrote.
Oh, there you go.
Unless there's objections by Glenn and Dennis, I feel that's a comfortable amount. This is really just a review.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to grant the waiver request to reduce the engineering fee to $1,000 from the $5,000 normally required.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And that is unanimous. All right. Any further discussion?
I think the explanations granted by the applicant and his representative, I think, are sufficient for me on, I don't think that they're going to should be getting a revised DOT permit, and I don't think they're going to be needing any revised alteration of terrain permits. I do agree that it's probably in their best interest to inspect the current septic system before they pave over it, but I don't think that could be a requirement of us.
Any further comments? Well, I'm assuming we can't approve this until we receive until our attorney has reviewed the condo docs. So we want to continue?
We've done conditional approvals in the past, subjected to just the formalized review of condo docs, correct?
Yeah, it's unlikely that there'll be significant changes to the condo docs. It's usually, I didn't look over these ones. Is there a clause in there that says there won't be any amendments? Or if there are amendments, it will be moved to the town. That's really the only other point I can deal with that. So you absolutely can do that.
So I guess, my question to the other board members is if we were to move forward and offer a conditional use, conditional approval, which are the items that we feel from the comments provided by Dennis and Glenn are the ones that we want to make conditions of that approval? I just spoke to people, that I felt that, I don't think, my personal opinion, I don't think that we would need.
I'm in agreement with you, Chris, and also I would also note that as long as they follow along the NFPA recommendations of the fire department, which I'm sure they will, which Mr. Larraz says it has to do with the building permit anyway, but we'll take care of all that. My agreement is that, same as the septic system, it'd be kind of foolish if they go over it's all septic system, but they didn't have a check, but.
As the applicant, do you have any objections to the other items that Dennis has laid out here? I know you spoke to those few that I agreed with. Do you have any objections to some of these other items that Dennis is recommending the board follow? And if you have an objection to them, can you explain that?
I do. One of the things you mentioned, which seems really easy, is the existing conditions plan. There is an existing conditions plan to some degree on file. We didn't put it as part of this package. This package is just the original approved plan. There are no existing conditions on this at all. There is one on file, so to provide a new existing conditions plan, we think that's a big expense. Survey crew out there and kind of check what's been built and so forth. We've done a good portion of it when we did the condo plan, which you are in possession of and so forth, but to do any further work on the plan to show that we met with the old plan, We feel a little over the top. Again, this is an approved plan. At the time of the construction of the first building, I don't remember who the town engineer was back then, do you? They basically made us grade out and get ready for phase 2 so that essentially all the drainage was done. All the catch basins, everything is there. All they gotta do now is just put foundation in and go. Which at the time seemed a little expensive, but looking back on it now, we're very happy that it happened that way, so.
Any further comment, Dennis?
Again, I wasn't involved in the original design, so I look at it from my point of view and saying, everything's fine. I really can't say that because I didn't review the original drainage analysis. You've got 50% of the site that's impervious, which is a lot. It's bringing down into a fire pond, but I'm not sure if that's adequate to today's scale. The fire pond is also a retention pond. Just let me finish. And so I have to make my comments based on how I feel. If you ignore my comments, I don't have a problem. But that's certainly up to you.
I like to be able to, if I'm going to ignore your comments, I like to at least be able to articulate why.
And that's fine. The existing conditions plan is something that can be developed fairly easily. I don't see that as a difficult thing. A new design for the septic system is something that I think you said you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right, so that's something that you don't really need to worry about at this point in time. The other thing that I would kind of like to be concerned about also is that, I know they've been saying DOT approval is not necessarily required, and it was approved, the building and the permit was approved years ago, but conditions have changed, and DOT philosophy has changed over the years, and I certainly can give a call to the local state engineer and see if they have any concern about having this built and whether it needs a new permit or not. Maybe it does, I don't know. But that's why I brought it up in my comments. But I think checking with the state engineering office in Durham is something that's easier to do. It's just a phone call or an email. So that's all I was thinking about is that.
Yeah, and I guess my concern would be is that if they were making some fundamental changes to what the already approved plan were, I would say that yes, they would need to be looked at, to be held at to more, whatever today's standards have changed. But it doesn't appear that there's, from what I understand about the site, looking at the previously approved plan, I didn't see such substantial changes that they should be maybe scrutinized and forced to held to.
The schedule is on the plan. And that was approved apparently by DOT years ago.
Yeah.
Unless the standards have changed, I would say that they would probably not say anything about this entrance. I don't think there's been any accidents there or anything like that, so.
Fortunately, for this property, it's on a very straight section, without any steep, it gets steep. But quick changes in grade, heading back towards Hunt Road, so we can see for half a mile to the south and a third of a mile to the north, so it's an easy place to pull out.
And I believe the state is actually addressing that section of road too this summer, I believe.
What are they doing now? It's
They're buying 425
even more.
with turning lanes for them.
Okay. It's pretty wide right there as it is.
Up to me.
Oh, okay.
So I guess, I don't mind making a motion to grant conditional approval, I just want to know what are the hardline issues that the board wouldn't feel comfortable not having in there? What are the ones that you're like, I'm pretty flexible on most of these because of the approval of the site and how large it was even back then in the scale and what it was approved to do. So unless there's something that I feel pretty comfortable moving forward with just some basic conditions, but unless there's something that the board members absolutely want.
Even added the dumpster enclosure on this one. So, yeah, we should.
And the dumpsters. Oh, yeah. Do we have any public comment? Thank you, Peter.
Did you say that we talked about dumpster closure on January 20th?
Pardon me?
Just January 20th, you said you saw dumpster closure?
There is a dumpster, yes, enclosure, yes.
That's page 3, it's 2006. That's the 2006, that's the approved plan, shows two dumpsters. The current plan, January 2023, shows no dumpster.
Oh, it does, okay. We got it.
Okay, that was the thing that was making me not better. You revised, you amended your site plan, and you've gone from the approved site plan as required by our statute. So it's dumpster closures for dumpsters. You have no dumpster closures there. We're one, and you stay on your plan. Your plan look at the plan that is approved. What's the title of that plan that you have in your hand? This is amended condominium plan. Amended condominium plan. Yes. And show it up. There's no mention of what you're asking the board to approve. Your declaration of condominium, extended declaration of condominium says you desire to add a second floor building too. So that's a change. That's not a change. Well, that's what we put in here. It was all currently two stories. Your condominium plan for 2020 units. Is that correct? So again, your condominium plan for 2020 is 13 units. And you amended it. We're not amending your site plan. You start calling, you can look around, then you can amend, you ask me questions, I'm going to answer.
Questions go to the chair, not to the
Original plan showed that building would be 2 stories. The reason the condominium plan was amended is because we didn't show it as 2 stories on the previous condominium. We're looking at a condominium plan, not the site plan. When we are telling you we will comply with the original site plan, and the condominium plans are only to change the form of ownership.
So we're talking 2 different plans. We have the site plan that you're going to continue to follow, being the dumpster where the dumpster's supposed to be, and the condominium plan is just the ownership plan.
Yes, and as Jack stated, if we were missing the dumpster enclosure, we're showing 2, and we're gonna get the reason we're there now, we will take care of it, we will do it as part of things too, to make sure it's done, what you said that. There's,
And the other issue is the landscaping plan. I was never notified that there was any amendment to that landscaping plan. It just, as you said, the trees can grow, whatever. They got, mower came up through there.
Things that I have planted have died, yes. But before I got my oxy permit, there was a walkthrough by the board, I walked around, we changed a few things on the plan, and I was given my oxy permit. That wouldn't have been given to me.
You said there was a walkthrough by this board?
Correct.
But that wasn't.
We were talking from 2009.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, it was a while ago, but yes, there was. There were several of them, actually.
Okay, so, and that was noticed through letters?
I mean, I can't go back to 2009, so change things.
All right.
Any other questions, Peter, that you'd like to address to the board? And not
Okay, so
to the applicant?
landscaping buffer should be addressed because it's non-compliant.
reference to the parking areas, you probably, doesn't affect me that much, but, your parking requirements for the regulations, you should probably look at those, because, there's quite a few spaces, and that's gonna be an issue between you and, other property owners, but.
Again, the plan was approved back in 2011.
Okay.
So, and so you should have your proposed signs, on your plan. Because currently we have 2 signs down there now, 2 freestanding signs, and, so that's something else, it's an issue, non-compliant, so my point in the letter was that, generally speaking, the plan doesn't get approved when the site's not in compliance. So, I would recommend that the board take a look at those issues and perhaps make them conditions of approval that the corrections get made prior to final approval. Okay?
Thank you for your comment. Okay, good. How would you like to proceed?
So in approving, Glenn, if we were to approve, because it's kind of complex, because there's a little complexity, just because we have the previously approved site plan, and now it's for the condominium, it's a condominium site plan approval, is it? So it's appropriate if I reference conditions that tie back to the originally approved site plan, correct? Correct. Right.
Take a
Wait
step.
for me?
Take a step.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we offer conditional approval of this plan based with the following conditions. One of them is that that they meet the requirements of the new septic design for the new building, that they comply with the dumpsters that were noted, the dumpster locations and dumpster enclosures that were referenced on the original approved site plan, and that any signs must meet the Kingston Town sign ordinance and be brought into compliance. Were there any other issues in here?
Do we also want to include language about the condo docs?
Yes, and that on condition of approval of the condo docs after being reviewed and accepted, or advised that we accept from town council.
A second?
Any further comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Do we have the timeline? Do we have
Conditions to be met?
conditions to be met, so I'm gonna have to.
That would be all.
Okay.
There were no conditions to be met, but they have to build it to meet the conditions.
No, but the conditions, your conditional approval needs to be met within 90 days or 180 days, whatever you're comfortable with.
Which those are, I think.
How do you feel if you feel like
The only thing they can't meet is 90 days is
Second dumpster.
Other than that, it's all, we're going to do it prior to occupancy, right?
I'd be comfortable with that, yeah, so I'll amend my motion to include that the conditions met, the timeline conditions met, be met prior to occupancy being granted.
Amend my second.
Okay. Are they still in favor? Opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you. Our third public hearing of the evening is Lone Tree Summer Camp LLC, 12 West Shore Park Road, map R10, lot 10. The intent of this project is to subdivide a 127 plus or minus acres parcel, creating 2 new house lots to have a 2-unit condominium residential building on each lot. So you need to introduce yourself and please present your application.
My name is Eric Mitchell, I'm prepared these plans, and with me is Eric Town, who's principal of Lone Tree Summer Camp LLC.
You need to speak up a little bit and get closer to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Okay, is this better? Better? Okay.
Thank you.
It's tax map R10, lot 10. The address is 12 West Shore Park Road. The existing lot is about 127 acres with a 73-acre conservation easement on it. It has an existing house on it. The proposal is to subdivide 2 new house lots with frontage on West Shore Park Road, and to construct 2-unit townhouse style condominiums on each lot. So we wind up making 2 lots, and then on each lot, and then condominium, which is like a duplex but convex on each lot. So there'll be a total of 4 units, but they're not tied together by a condominium, just each pair has its own condominium. The remainder of the lot will be 122 acres, and retain the existing house. The zone is residential. The minimum lot size is 80,000 square feet. It's on for the frontage. The topography and wetlands sitting map. And 2 lots have been, 2-lot subdivision as well as the condo plans been submitted to the NHDES for subdivision approval and separate condominium subdivision approval. We asked for 5 waivers. First was to waive the mandatory preliminary review. There was only 2 new lots for Korea, and we asked for that. Secondly, to allow the scale of the remainder of lot 10, 172 acres to be 200 feet. It allows it all to be shown on the first sheet. 3 is to show NHDES approval as pending. It is moving up the state. 4 is to provide only 1 test pit per lot. The test pits were witnessed by the Rockingham County Conservation District. And 5 is to allow minimum 15 to 25% slopes to be included in the buildable area calculations where they are intermittent. And the average slope on lots is less than 15%. In fact, it's a little bit closer to 8%, but we do have some the areas where it gets a little bit steeper, it gets very flat, and a little bit steeper again. I have prepared a functional values wetland assessment to determine the wetland setback around the wetland that's on the site. And I can go through that if you want, but I can probably also wait until you have any additional comments. What we've done for the evaluation is we look at the functions and values of the wetlands that are out there and come up with a 50-foot wetland setback. The condominium documents, I believe, were submitted by Mr. Town at the time of our submission, so those are there too. So there's actually, as indicated, 2 things going on here. We're creating 2 lots, and each lot will have a 2-unit condominium on them. And technically, we need a condominium approval, subdivision approval by the town, as well as 2-lot subdivision approval by the town. I'm glad to answer any questions.
All right. Dennis, would you like to start?
You can follow along so you don't have to write them down.
Thank you.
So, I got a copy of the plans that were submitted, and here are my comments. Number one, state subdivision approval is required. Number two, sheet one, waivers listed. I have no objection to the 4 waivers requested. Number three, add note that sheets 1 to 4 are upper recording and others on file with the town. Number 4, Article 901, 21C5 and 90511F says each lot shall have its own driveway, but no more than two driveways, entrances, exits of approach will be allowed to any one parcel of land. On this property, there's one existing driveway, and there's applications proposing two more, so it's more than the 2 that are allowed. Number 5, 90511J, 901.1F, specific requirement for mailbox location is shown on the driveway detail sheet. I recommend that it be shown on the subdivision plan. Number 6, 905.6E, provide the distance from the driveway to the nearest fire hydrant. Number 7, 905.11H, driveways will need to have driveway culverts at their entrance along the edge of the road, within the right-of-way. Number 8, 905.14C, 35, after final approval by the planning board, lot numberings to be according to the tax map designated approved by the selectmen. Number 9, 905.14 I1A, monuments on 4 corners of new lots must be granite or concrete. This shows iron rod to be set. So 905, number 10, 905.14 I1B says that iron pipe shall be placed along lot lines every 200 feet. Number 11, 1301, 6B2, it says no subsurface disposal system shall be located less than 100 feet from wetlands. Lot B shows a 4K area about 70 feet, which is easy to modify that and be done very easily. And number 12 is limited common areas, LCAs, should be clearly defined by dimensions to prevent future conflicts, and typically that's what we've required in the past, so that's something that's easy to do also. The driveway requirements that I mentioned are based on the driveway regulations, so that's where I get those informations, that's why I reference those items. So those are my comments this time.
Thank you. Glenn?
Thank you. I'm sorry. Eric. All right, I have the intent of this part, this is subdivided 127-acre parcel, 3 house lots. It has 2 condominium residential buildings on each lot. This is the first public hearing for this application, so the board should consider the jurisdiction on the plan. There are actually 5 waivers, but I say there are only 4. And these are all asked for in writing, and they have also been detailed on the plan sheet. But since there's a 5th, that 5th one should, if the board votes to agree to it, should also be added to the cover page of the plan set. And I get that, I don't have a problem necessarily with 3 of the 4 requests. So now I'm saying I don't think I have a problem with 4 of the 5 requests. I just would like the applicant to explain why only 1 test pit is provided, since our standard does say that 2 will be provided within the 4K area. This is also a condominium proposal. Condo law should be reviewed by council. I did take a look at these documents to see if it required statement about amending only after reviewed by the town is included in this So I would imagine that review isn't going to accomplish a lot, but we do generally send it out for council review. I have that the area of the proposed law does not fall within the Aquifer Protection District, just so people understand why they're proposing lots that are less than 3 acres in size. The Aquifer Protection District does fall on the property, but our standard has always been, if it is not within the area that's to be subdivided, then the 2 acre requirement will be used. Does the highway department plan to ask for maintenance easements along the West Shore Park Road frontage? If so, these should be detailed on the plan. Did we get something from the highway department?
We did, they're requesting a 20-foot right away.
Oh, they are?
Yep.
It's a maintenance easement. Number 14 should indicate both square footage and percentage of the lot that is rendered by the proposal. They presently only give the square footage. There should be no indicating the plan will comply with the Kingston fire department regulations, not fire department regulations. Sorry. And the water frontages shown on the plan are shown as being monumented by iron rods, and they should be monumented with concrete or granite mounds, and pipes should be placed every 200 feet on the sidelines and back lines, which is just regurgitating the plan set. I'm really wondering that you saw the driveway when I did not.
That's why we compliment each other.
Well, we have comments from one town department, which happens to be the highway department, and they said a 20-foot easement for the right of way is needed, the road, and ask the applicant to please stop plowing across the road intersection. We can't put snow on somebody else's property. Which you might have heard from the first hearing tonight. You might have heard that from the first hearing tonight. So, do you have questions on the planning board?
I guess I come for Dennis. I was shuffling papers and when you're talking about the driveway, you said there's no more than one per lot, or no more than 2 per parcel of land. Do you consider these 2 lots to be one parcel? I'm confused.
So there's an existing, there is one existing driveway on this parcel.
And the part that's being subdivided? What I'm trying to figure out is this 2 driveways? Yes, I can't see it on the plan, so there's two plots, each has one driveway.
No, what I read is that this is one parcel of land, there's an existing driveway on that. Now you have added 2 more driveways to that parcel.
When they become separate, separate lots.
Again, it's an interpretation, yeah, that's how I would look at it, but if I'm wrong, then let me know.
My provision when you create a new lot, it's
That could have up to 2 driveways.
On any new lot.
Correct.
Okay, so
For this one, they're not, none of them end up exceeding the potential for 2 driveways.
right, it's only one.
Because it's actually a combined driveway. It's just mention that.
Yeah, the other driveway doesn't actually, as it goes in, close to the start of the.
Yeah, it's a ways away.
It doesn't enter either of those 2 new lots.
Correct.
Okay, just to clarify that, it doesn't seem to be a discrepancy as far as, otherwise, with it, if you look at the 2 driveways in the entire, yeah, if this was subdivided into 50 lots, you know,
Any other questions from the planning board?
why do we only one test pit when we're required 2?
There was an oversight on our part. We're out there, we have the Conservation District out there witnessing, and we were doing the application application to submit it to the town, we saw that 2 was required. We did 1 because that's what the state requires, and there was another side on my part. However, both the test pits were they were both the same that we did, and if the board wants to require it, we do require a septic system for each of these lots. If an additional test pit wants to be out there so that when we do test pits, when we do the state subdivision, septic system approval, we can do another test pit. And if the test pit, the septic will be 100 feet from the wetlands.
And that second, that the pits need to be witnessed also by the Kingston Health Officer.
Yes.
So the reason I didn't really have an objection to that is because the soil map shows this soil is 43B is Canton Fine Sandy Loam, which is very good drainage soil. So, and it covers this whole property. So if there was a complex, the reason you have 2 test pits is to verify the consistency. Exactly, so there's no difference in soils, and where the whole lot is basically all Canton soil and not ledge, it doesn't show any ledge or anything like that. That's why I didn't have any problem with 1 test pit, so it's up to the board.
Can I just say, I looked at this as a planner, not as someone who also has to be a show-off and a wetland scientist.
That's
I wanted to be known that this is different than what we require. But Dennis's knowledge of the soil types makes it seem like a legitimate request.
So we have enough information to be able to weigh it.
Yes, if you are not allowed to grant a waiver, Dennis has provided you the necessary background information to do that.
If you might, just one comment towards that. Also, we did a site-specific soil survey, not just mapping the wetlands. So the soils were remapped in the area where the 2 lots are, and that's partly what Dennis may be referring to. The SCS soil map also shows it as Canton soil 43, but the site-specific soil map verifies that all of the lots are dry and free drain and no ledge.
Has the town council reviewed that easement to the United States of America?
I'm sorry?
There's an easement, the main is the conservation easement, but it's a 50-page document from the United States of America that covers a lot of this property. Has anyone reviewed that just to make sure that?
Do you mean the Boy Scouts?
BSA, yeah, okay.
No, I am going on the premise that Mr. Mitchell would know that he couldn't infringe on that.
The corner lot which just sold comes down to a V, okay? The property we're talking about is on one side of that V. Yeah. The easement stuff is on the other side of the V, so it doesn't even touch these lots that we're trying to create.
All right. It's pretty extensive, and it touches a little more than just the conservation. Talks about snow road, the roadway, access, and things like that. It just, like I said, it's extremely inclusive, and it covers a lot more than just the acreage in the conservation area A and B. It just would feel a little better if someone would take a peek at that.
So you're saying that the easement itself grants
The United States of America
requirements?
Well, it's the Boy Scouts of America granted the United States of America.
Like the easement.
To the property, perpetual rights to the property, easements rights to the property.
In specific areas, they're mapped out.
I would just I'd feel better from the town to take a peek, the town council to take a peek at that, and just maybe a little guidance on that. Only because they're put there for a reason, and it's extremely inclusive of what they want done, not only with just the easement, but access to the easement, water rights, well rights, septic rights, anything put on the property.
I certainly did not review that easement. So if the request is to have someone from the town review that easement, I can do that, but maybe council is a better. Just saying.
If I might, the original easement that was placed on the property, my office did the survey work. And it's actually two different parcels, about 30 acres each. The middle of this 127 acres is what is not part of the easement. They may have access to get through the non-easement portion to there. But what I will say is the two lots we're cutting out don't touch the easement, and so that's not any part of that. Plus, and I cannot specifically say because of what this easement is, but generally we do a lot of easements for the NRCS and for the government. Quite often, subdivisions are allowed in there, but the uses are restricted as what you can do. You may be able to do forestry, you may be able to do agriculture on some agricultural easements, but you're not allowed to move dirt, you're not allowed to put houses in, you're not allowed to do septic wells and that kind of stuff. So from a conservation easement standpoint in general, the uses that are restricted is pretty much building houses and paving roads and that kind of stuff. We're still allowed to do forestry, agriculture, but that's specific in the easement, and I never read the easement either, but we can provide that information to Glenn so you can have that too.
So is the easement the area on the left and right side of that corridor that's in the middle, is that?
Correct. The dash line.
The dash line
It's conservation easement line, there's in the middle of the non-easement, which goes on both sides.
the non-easement is in the middle and the easement's on either side?
Correct.
Okay.
Conservation.
Wasn't sure.
Any other planning board questions or comments? Dan?
Can I just clarify one thing about the driveway thing? I'm sure it's fine, but under the driveway ordinance, or Article 901, it says, in order to minimize the number of driveways along town roads, shared driveways shall be encouraged when deemed appropriate by the planning board for adjacent sites. No more than 2 driveway entrances, exits, approaches will be allowed to any one parcel of land. That's what I was looking for. I mean, obviously, there's plenty of room on this road for having multiple driveways, more than 3 even. But that's where I was coming from, just to explain what my comment was. It really doesn't. I understand what 2 driveways, what a lot is probably fine. Right. And there's plenty of room for driveways along there, but looking at this, it's kind of saying that no more than 2 per piece of property to start out with, and common driveways are encouraged. So, but that's what this says, it's encouraged, but it doesn't say you have to do it. So just, maybe it's just food for thought for the future, not for this application.
Because when I was around, we created that language. And the goal was that what we didn't want to see was a lot of driveways to any single lot. So when a new lot is created, you're still held to not having, in any instance, more than 2. But if you need to, you have to explain why you're going to have 2. Now, the concept of shared driveways was because, especially on state land, especially on town roads, we were cognizant of the ability to cut down on driveway cuts if we use shared driveways. So in those instances where they were.
So that's what it's encouraged.
It would be encouraged. We don't encourage it very often. But in the instance of this, it looks like one driveway, but it's really 2 because it's a context that's using.
So you think that's, it's fun driving.
Any other comments from the planning board or questions?
Well, I do know at one point there was some discussion about this site about compliance act, like some severe possible violations of compliance activities going on in the existing activity area. And I remember there was discussions, I remember there was public comment. Was there ever any resolve, or did we ever come to a conclusion on that?
That went to.
It went to the board of selectmen.
Board of Selectmen. Yeah, we sent it to you.
Okay, so that would have been, yeah, I didn't get appointed until sometime in the fall.
Any more comment from the planning board? No?
Would you be able to just speak to what the resolution was to the concerns that were raised over the summer?
I had received some visits and they had raised some questions, and unbeknownst to me, it got put on an agenda for the selectmen to talk about, and I did find out about the meeting, so I did come and speak with them. And as a result of that, I sent an email with a itemized list of, answers to their concerns and that kind of thing, and that was the end of it. And one of them was, somebody said there was skinny dipping going on, and a neighbor actually came to the meeting and confirmed that it was at a different property. I mean,
that was next to it. I was kind of clear for that skinny dipping was screaming in the middle of the night. I went over and talked to them about it, and it's across the lake, because I live on Country Pond too, and I had to get up in the middle.
I'm sorry, if you're going to talk, we have to open for public comment, and we have to have you go to the microphone so the public can hear as well. So, does the planning board have any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we will open it to the public for public comment, and you can go to the microphone and let us know about your situation with skinny dipping.
It sounds like it may not be relevant.
Does anyone in the public have any comments that they would like to make about this? Isn't it just that you need to go to the microphone? Please introduce yourself, let us know where it is you live in town, and let us know what you're thinking.
My name is James Hanson, I live on Merrill Avenue, so I'm on the, off of the Snow Road side of the thing. And I guess my question, is there plans for more subdivisions on this lot?
We would not know that.
Well, I know what I'm saying, that might be, as far as that one item, then I'm assuming these are going to be sold and not like rented out and used for rental property?
I don't think we can always ask, but we can't demand those type of answers.
As far as the first part, as long as they meet the subdivision regulations, they can apply for subdivision in the future. As has been pointed out, there are some conservation easements on either side, which would kind of limit that, but, we can't say.
I haven't seen the map, so I don't know where the driveways are exactly.
They're all on the planning board website.
Okay, great.
This shows that there's only remaining frontage on West Shore Park Road of 398 feet, which includes the road into the camp, and you're only allowed one home every 200 feet. There's already one there, and there's wetlands.
Right.
So, that's not an answer to your question, because things always change, but it doesn't look like, there could be a lot of development, unless they put a road in and develop more property, which is their right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other comments, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Nicole, and I live at 85 Route 125.
Can you give last name, 223.
Weber, sorry. My only concern or comment or question is, when the surveying was being done, one of the surveyors saw me and my small boys out playing in the yard, and mentioned to us that there was an uncovered well over where the existing house is on the property, which was pretty concerning to me. So I just wanted to make sure that that was covered, or if there's any fences going up to, for safety in that area. That's kind of what I was wondering.
Couldn't imagine where that would have been.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't imagine where that would have been.
Where?
Yeah.
It was just behind the existing house on the property.
Are you sure you're talking about my house, not the brown one in front on 125? The yellow?
I haven't looked at the plans in
There's no house like that on 125.
Okay. I may have wrong.
It might have been, yeah, because that's been abandoned for a long time.
Do we have any other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. How hard you all work is amazing. I'm Sandra May. I live at 10 Clancannon Road in Kingston. And I have been hiking over in Lone Tree for over 15 years. I had permission from the Scout Masters over there for many years. And I have hiked all of the trails over there. And after they sold it, I still wanted to go over there because I take my dog over there, I take my sons and I would go over and walk over there. It's a safe place. And we were given permission to go over there. And I was at the meetings where they talked about the planning board meetings, where they talked about the skinny dipping and everything, and I started laughing like crazy because that was not happening because I'm across the lake. I live across the lake. And that night, they were screaming that they were naked and they were hollering and they were kids. And it was 2 houses away from mine, and I know the family that this was going on, and I went over and said, come on, this is crazy, my sons have to go to work, and they're working 12-hour days, can you stop this? And they did. And then somebody blamed it that it was happening on Lone Tree, which that wasn't true. And then there was a blame, somebody said that there was an arrest, that there was an arrest. Well, I know Chief Johnson very well. I live near his family. I've been friends with the Johnson family for years. And so I went to see Chief Joel Johnson, and I asked him, and he said, no, yeah, we went in there and we arrested somebody, but it had nothing to do with Lone Tree. The guy was, Massachusetts was trying to find this criminal, and they helped, and they arrested the person. And it had nothing to do with the owners of Lone Tree or anything like that. That's what he told me. So, they're a good neighbor. They've done a lot of work over there. They haven't done bad things. And I think that what they're doing is necessary so that they can pay the taxes and mortgages and things and everything. And there's a lot of land over there. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
My name is Gordon Sainer, I live on 8 Mill Ave. better. And he's a good neighbor. I've been at Scout Camp for 30 years. I've lived there, next to it. And he's a good neighbor so far. It's been great. But I just want to know, where exactly is the lot? Because you mentioned Snow Road, and the hearing here is, I can't hear nothing. It's awful.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, last chance. Okay, we'll close public comment and go back to planning board comment. How would you like to proceed? Do you have any further questions or comments? Yes, sir.
Comment in reviewing looking at the review letters, is anything that needs to be addressed, I'm fully confident that can be addressed in a positive way. So I have no issues with the comments that have been raised.
Okay, thank you.
The board should consider those other waivers.
Yes. Do we need to accept jurisdiction first?
Jurisdiction, that's what I was going to ask, if on the jurisdiction question, details of the complete.
Yeah.
And, wait, did you want to do waivers first or jurisdiction?
Jurisdiction.
Jurisdiction first, you don't need. Okay. Move that we accept jurisdiction on tax map R10 lot 10. Plan submitted.
Second.
Any further questions or comment? Seeing none, all those in favor? We've accepted jurisdiction unanimously. Okay, so we have several waivers. First waiver request is to waive the requirement for mandatory preliminary review. Motion?
I'll make a motion to waive the requirement for the mandatory preliminary review. What's that?
Based on advice from.
Yes, based on advice from both the town engineer and
I got second.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That would be unanimous as well. Waiver request number 2 is to allow the scale sheet 1 to be 1 inches 200 feet to fit the remainder of lot 10. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion based on the recommendation of the town engineering to allow the scale sheet to be 1 inch to 200 feet to fit the remainder of lot 10.
For the second.
second.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That one unanimous. Number 3, to show NHDES approvals for submission as they are pending. So those NHDES approvals, those are just for septic, or is there anything else?
They're not for septic system, there's 2 approvals, no? One is for subdivision to create the 2 separate lots, and the other one is a condominium subdivision to take a duplex and cut it into it. And they said they're fine doing it all at once, but we had to submit 2 applications together, so that's what we're doing. It's not the septic. Septic still has to be submitted, reviewed by the town, submitted to state after everything is approved.
Okay. So we have a motion.
Yeah, based on advice of the town engineer and planner, we'll move that we show the NHDES approvals for submission because they are pending. They've been submitted.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous. Number 4, to provide only 1 test pit per new lot.
I'll make a motion because I questioned it. I make a motion to accept the on the advice of, recommendation of our town engineer, familiar with sand and soils down there, and it was obviously oversight by the applicant, and I'm pretty confident that when we're back to the state, they have an adequate septic system on the property.
Okay, do we have a second? Second from Steve. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? And number 5, to allow minimum 15 to 25% slopes to be included in the buildable area calculations. Do we have a motion for that?
Well, the only reason I'm hesitating here is because in the past we have denied that, but because the engineer has stated that it's an acceptable case, because I think he said it was about 8% to 15% general slope. Is that fair?
Yes, it's between 8 and 15 average slope for the whole lot.
Yeah, but so I would say that because of the minimum locations of steeper than 15% slopes, and based on the town's engineer's recommendation, that I will move to allow those minimum 15 to 25% slopes to be included in the buildable area calculations.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Okay. How would you like to proceed? Motion?
Well, I guess I would ask, Glenn, if you think there's sufficient, I mean, we talked about septic approvals, the thing that can be conditioned.
We're sending condo docs to council.
So,
We want the septic area to be moved to 100 feet. The septic, the EDA, the effluent disposal area is within 70 feet, it needs to be 100. According to Dennis's comments.
That they grant a 20-foot easement right away, maintenance for the public works.
Yes.
The applicant says that we would make the changes required for both letters.
Okay.
Do we need to detail those in a motion? Probably.
we can reference the details of that.
Yeah, so we just have to reference those two letters and then add in addition to that, the 20-foot right-of-way request by the Public Works Department.
And the condo docs?
Yeah.
Okay, somebody ready?
I'll go for it. Make a motion to, grant conditional approval for, I have the wrong letter, so I'm looking at the wrong address, sorry. For the submitted subdivision of tax map R10, lot 10, West Shore Park Road, Kingston, New Hampshire, with the conditions detailed in the letter dated, was it still dated April 14th, 2023? From town engineer Dennis Quintal, as well as items 1 through 5 in the letter from town planner Glenn Greenwood. 2 additional items that the condo documents be submitted for town council approval, and that there be a 20-foot DPW easement reflected on the plan.
And the granted waivers noted on the plan.
And the granted waivers noted on the plan.
Yeah.
We have a second.
Second.
were submitted, they just need approval, and that is out of their control as far as the timeframe, so do we, say, I don't want to do that.
I mean, they'll make that really perfect because with development, the one thing we require.
It will be was in there already, yeah.
Yes. I can't expect any comments at all.
So the conditions to be met by? What's it, 90 days?
Yeah.
Do you think you can meet all those within 90 days, or would you like a longer period of time to meet that?
How about that was a state?
Eric would like to do, 10 days, but just in case there's some mix-up or something in the paperwork, if it can be a little bit longer than that, but I mean, we tend to have stuff done, say, even within 30 days. Some of the conditions are that, the monuments, certain monuments are to be set, and if those have to be set before you sign the bylaws, because we don't have a real construction or bonding, it may take a little bit of time to go out and set the bounds in the back and that kind of stuff. What I would say, certainly things are going to get done probably within 45 to 60 days, but I wouldn't mind if it's a little bit longer.
We're talking 90.
I guess probably those are, 90 is good.
You can always ask for an extension if something comes up.
No,
You know what I mean?
You can always ask for an extension if something comes up.
90 is all right.
Yeah.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? We have a conditional approval. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we have two more items of business. The first is the acceptance of the minutes, and the second is the correspondence.
I will move for the March 21st minutes, the acceptance, with the correction on line 292. I'll let you open that up. Where it says 7, it should be 2, as our lines 298 and 306. And that is where the applicant was talking about it being 7 years. Those 2 years, and that's mentioned twice in the same paragraph down below. I think what happens is vote to, it's probably. Yeah, we didn't approve the warehouse project. Just seems that way.
Just correspondence, so I'll pass it out.
Yeah, and the only other place is line 455 of Chris. Line 455, where Chris says the DES is the state's version of the EPA. The state should have an apostrophe, making it singular, possessive instead of plural. A 455, put an apostrophe, it's state. He meant the state, and the state is the Hampshire's version.
I'm confident on intense.
I'm sure that's good. I don't know. Either one is acceptable, no, the state, not possessive, would make sense. Would we call the state, it would be the US also, it's the same. And that would be the EPA. That would be the US.
So that was a motion to
accept the approval minutes with those caveats.
I will second that.
Okay, any further, those are omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Maybe pass this around. Two different letters there. So we have two letters of correspondence. We could take the longer one first, because the writers are here.
I got two of those. Yeah, one's there, one's there. There you go. You good? I'm good. I think I got it. Thanks for your attention.
And I'm going to recuse myself from this, so Robin, if you take over as vice chair for a moment.
That's fine. Do I need to? Are you talking about the? Yeah. Oh, they're both dated?
I'm talking about the longer letter. I'm going to recuse myself from.
Do we need to read the whole letter?
I think everybody could probably read it all in one. Thank you. And we'll submit it into the minutes.
I respectfully remind you that while you are reading it, the people that have no idea.
Okay, we'll synopsize.
Has everyone finished reading the letter?
Yes.
Okay. So up for consideration is a letter dated April 17th, 2023, written by Danielle Mastroianni and Deborah J. Millette, at 191 Main Street, Kingston, New Hampshire. In short, it is a request to use an existing building as a two-bedroom residence on the second floor, and that the first floor of the commercial building to be used as an antique and crafts and gift store. It is, based on the letter, there are no hazardous materials on site, snow storage will be in the rear of the building, and the writers are aware that an occupancy permit is required for both the business and the apartment. Did I miss anything?
It's got nothing to do.
Oh, and they're aware, correct, that it needs to go to HDC.
So I think most of the question is about septic. And just to start with the point out, this is the Carriage Founders office building and the house to the right, as you place the Carriage Founders. So the issue is it's got 600 gallon capacity septic system. This is a three-bedroom house, but the one listed as a two-bedroom house, because it only has two bedrooms, and that would give them, $225 for a two-bedroom house, as well as good answer to this question. One I don't know about the commercial building, allocating 75 gallons per district, of septic fees per day there. And obviously, the intended is fewer people than were in there, let's say, office. The question is, I guess, the question is, what do we need to bring up in the deal? I would put it to, yes, you have I have read it, I don't have a copy in front of me, but, so I guess in a long story short, if those numbers add. Yeah, you know, and I don't have a problem with that, except for the, changing from a three-bedroom to a two-bedroom house is something that can be done. How do you require that it be maintained that way? Well, there's always a question about how people can have a two-bedroom house, two big bedrooms, and then put a partition down in between and wind up with four bedrooms, which happens around the lakes all the time. But we don't usually see very often three bedrooms being reduced to two. And I'm sure it can be done because Dan's very clever, but if it can be reduced to two, you can always change it back to three very easily. So how do you, well, doing that, you have to get septic approval, and if you, well, who's going to know?
Yes, so if I could just interject, because I have the property listed, there are only 2 bedrooms in the house. There is an unfinished attic that some people were using as a 3rd bedroom, but there are currently only 2 bedrooms in the house. They're on the 2nd floor. There's just 2 bedrooms and 2 small closets on the 2nd floor, and the 1st floor has no bedrooms at all. So why it was classified as a 3-bedroom, we're not sure, except maybe they wanted to use that attic space, which currently is unfinished space. So at this point in time, there are only 2 bedrooms in the house.
So there you go, it doesn't matter. So if they wanted to get a building permit for the 3rd bedroom or whatever, they would have to show the septic process. I'm not sure that it has the land, there is land enough to add on bedrooms. And I think we've talked about that before, that there was enough land. If the lot is limited to the number of waste, the amount of wastewater that can go on the lot. So what it's designed for with a 3-bedroom house is because the well and the protective zone can't be counted, there's not enough land area to expand use.
So one of my concerns about this is that it's obviously a unique mixed-use property that has some grandfather provisions. By taking one, reducing that bedroom over there, but then by creating an apartment, does this now become a multifamily, or is this considered to have to go through the accessory dwelling unit process? You can't just take a bedroom, make an apartment, and then say it's part of the same existing residential part, or was there already?
Well, that's because the zone it's in the HDC, up to this zone, in fact, the residences are permitted, therefore you can have multi-family residences. So the ADU was only caused to single-family residential because,
And rural residential.
I mean, you can have ADUs in rural residential, but you don't need it because you can have, if you have a single-family house in a rural residential district, you still have a second dwelling unit that can be put on because it can take up to 2 duplexes or any 2, you can have 2 houses on a lot in rural residential.
I think the way that I'm receiving this is, they know they're going to go through these channels, they know they're going to go to the ACC, they know they're going to get the permits, they know they're going to do all this. Do we have a problem as a board? No, I think the calculations, can that be done?
So this is, Chris is asking about the ADU thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
They don't need it because it's a multi-residence zone. So, and the HDC, you go from single family to, now that we know that the HDC can go on uses. But they're going to it's a neighborhood.
Listen, I'm not concerned that they're allowed to do possibly either one of those. My concern is how is it designated, because it's going to be subject to impact fees, I would imagine, if they're creating a second multi-family residence.
Either way, there'd be an impact fee, but the other thing is that, even if it were an ADU, it only requires a building permit. It doesn't require permission from the planning board because it's inside an existing building that's not changing the exterior dimensions.
What do you think for an opportunity to speak? Have you moved up to the table?
It sounds like, because an ADU, even if it's detached from an existing garage, it still has to go through an ADU.
We have that change in law, they still have to come to us to do that. We voted on many of those. They come to us. So we've done many, we know they don't change the outside, it's the same, they still come to us.
So I think there just needs to be a determination to help them, guide them on what they need, because I'm sure when they go to the building department code enforcement is going to be, is this going to be considered a multifamily, or is this going to be, have to be treated as an ADU? Because that's going to direct how they proceed. And like I said, it's a weird grandfather mixed use property, so I don't think there's a line of Yeah, and the reason I bring this up is I just don't want them to go down a path and say, we were told to treat it as this, and now somebody's saying it's not this. I'd rather they just take the path they need one time.
Can you tell me what the difference is between treating it as an ADU or as a multifamily?
Before we do that, would you just state your name and
Oh, sorry, I'm Deborah Millette, 191 Main Street.
And the question was what the process would be for each of those?
What's the difference here? Yeah.
I think, well, I mean, I guess my interpretation is that multifamilies are not allowed in certain districts, but it sounds like this, where it's currently zoned, it could go either way. I honestly don't know what the differences are for the benefits, because we assess the impact fee based off of becoming a two-family or a multifamily, even if it's just an ADU. Because when you do an ADU, it's essentially a fully rentable unit that you can have anyone stay in. There's no limitations on family like it used to be with like in-law apartments and stuff like that. So it could be just a nuance thing, and you may be afforded the same opportunities with both, but I can't give you that answer.
I think an ADU is almost like an ADU is allowed on a property or a house, as we talked about, whether it's upstairs or in the back building. But if you do a separate multi-family, I would have two houses on the same lot. They actually don't want that to happen.
But I think it's specifically permitted under the review of HDC.
The ordinance requires that, one apartment provided is located within a single-family dwelling or detached structure on a single-family dwelling site. Okay. And the way you're describing this to me, it will not qualify as a single-family dwelling site. Okay, so because of I'm sorry? Because it's got a commercial unit on there, it's already mixed use. Yeah. But other than that, it's semantics, because ADUs are required, are allowed by law. But they have to go an architect. If you put an apartment there, you wouldn't have to live in one of the two apartments. You could stay in one and rent out both units. That's
Not financial.
And this isn't a change from the existing use, correct?
It's, I mean, that HDC would determine that it would be changing use, that would be multi-family down in one house.
And that's not what it is currently?
No, single family right now.
Oh, okay.
Not mixed use?
Well, yes, the whole lot's mixed use, but we don't have that term in our ordinance. So it really is determination of the HDC.
So what action would be ours to make or not today?
Based off of what Gordon Bennett said, I would say no.
Proceed as explained.
Proceed to HDC to
Proceed in like $200, is that?
Is that one? You're on this
I'm being instructed that we need a vote, that there is no further action.
No further action is required by the planning board and refer them to the historic district or the building department.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And one abstention. Or recusal? You've been over that already tonight?
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Then we have a second letter from Kylie Reyes. She's looking to open a hair salon in an existing space above the garage in her home. Currently has rented chair and dairy, wants to open a salon in her home. And they'd like to, we only have one chair, she'll be the only hairdresser, no employees. Structure for the salon is existing, nothing exterior needs to be added. We'll have designated parking in the driveway, taking clients by appointment only, no walk-in, so it should not be busy.
Would this qualify under the
she has no sign of, like, only point by point, one person at a time. If it's not visible from the outside, it's 12 by, and I know she's about to apply. And that's is there, I guess I'd ask you for plan, is there anything about this that require they not be included in application?
Oh, we have to actually specifically allow on application.
We're over there.
So they wouldn't need to, so what do we have, our new application? I mean, obviously they need stuff like approval and stuff like that. That's the building option. Yeah, code building option would do that.
This is number 2, 3 better trying to go down. You're going 2 in 1 night. Yep, down to that.
But that one has 3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Because I lived in that house as a child.
Oh, you were at it?
It kind of was, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Ordinances are, every time.
I swear we had something about hair salons in here.
Yeah, this one's, maybe the state has that, because this one has the requirement for water and septic that are needed. But I think that the building inspector can deal with that, but the one thing, the applicant says you use the water for septic.
It's visible. The following businesses, occupations, or activities are specifically prohibited. Beauty shops are under that list of specifically prohibited, except when customer visits are by appointment only and are limited to no more than 2 customers in any 1-hour period. Beauty shops and barber shops allowing these provisions shall be registered with the appropriate licensing and inspection authorities. And she indicated that she only wants 1 chair, which means she's not going to have more than 2 clients in an hour.
This is very good.
It's not for the approval.
I know my wife has never gotten her haircut in less than an hour. I don't know why, it just is
You know something, Joe? I don't think you have to worry about taking one of yours.
I know. Absolutely. I only require my own self for that kind of thing.
So the only other question I have is, are there any aquifer protection considerations? It is rural residential. And I would,
I just don't know if that's under us or if that's just gonna have, that has to be addressed in separate permitting.
Well, when you figure all the beauty salons we already have in town over the aquifer, I don't think we can do much about it.
well, that doesn't mean we shouldn't have done it then, but I guess I'm just wondering, based on the definition of toxic or hazardous materials.
We say that they're allowed.
I know.
They're allowed. And we say that all occupations that meet all requirements of this ordinance are exempt from site plan review.
But this does mean that she's got to go to ZBA, right? Because it's an ordinance. And if it's prohibited.
No, it's prohibited unless.
This is prohibited. That's all. By only are limited to no more than 2 customers in any 1 hour period except. So so as long as she is comfortable with having no more than 2 customers in an hour, and she is asking for only 1 single chair, that seems legitimate to me. If she had 2 chairs, I think that would be an issue, but her proposal is for 1.
Okay. So,
The guy, she can do this as a occupation. Now, but this has that other aspect to it.
Yeah,
Just leave that letter right out of the way, you might be something.
and she's playing with children.
Yeah. Well, she's working with that, designing the septic system on the last one, I said, it's challenging, she's gonna cover that.
But she's probably
Should be
saying,
big enough septic and recover everything.
she's probably saying,
Yeah, to get a septic design.
well, she's probably saying she can't do a three-bedroom design because there's not land enough. Yeah. So now the floor is required, they have to reduce it down to two bedrooms.
But if they were looking for a reduction of bedrooms, that doesn't fall the planning board anyway.
If there's land enough, you could just go with the three bedrooms and the shed, so. She's working with the designer, so it's really up to the Board of Health reviewing the.
Yes, I think the concern of the designer is that because it's a three-bedroom design, they don't have any additional capacity for a one chair beauty salon.
So they have to reduce it to just a chair.
That's the concern that they have with the septic, so.
Who does the changing of the designation?
What's the answer?
So maybe the answer is no further action taken if there's a separate design for a three-bedroom and a shed.
But that still falls under the permitting and inspection department. I don't think that has anything to do with us, and we can't tell them that. I mean, just say, based off what you're telling us, there's no further planning required, or, no design review by the planning board, I think.
She'll be promising, this will be,
You know, as far as the three to two bedroom thing is not the decision that we make here, we need commercial and,
I don't even know how that process goes.
I don't either, but that's why I need you to do it. You reduce it down, you take a petition out, or that's really, it's up to the health officer and the building inspector and code enforcement. Leave it up to him.
We'll talk to Jess about it and let Jess know that that's his jurisdiction, our expectations are that he'll take care of it. Okay, so.
Should we have a further action by the planning board?
Second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any other business coming before the board?
You got 7 minutes.
A little less than that. I got a request for review of the septic plans for 266 to 125. Any objection to that? Proceed to review the septic plan?
No.
Okay, 266? Yeah, the CS plans.
The plans are done.
They're submitting septic system plans to review, so I just did not want to do that without. I assume this is okay.
Yeah.
Less than 7 minutes.
Any other business to come before us? We're so lucky we didn't have that first hearing because it wouldn't have happened. Motion to adjourn? All in favor?